at this point, I don't know which one we could segue into. Either, I guess, like with how COD is like slowly withering away. Like, is COD gonna be like the first source of media that like disappears and shit, or is it just hard for anybody like the gaming industry to be original? Because like with COD, I would say after maybe Black Ops 3, it was the whole jetpack riding bullshit. And I think it's just hard for people to be, not for people, but like companies to be original and come up with an idea like that people are going to be like, oh, it's like a breath of fresh air type thing. And I think it's just COD hasn't had that, and it's getting to such a point where people are just like, dude, the new Black Ops looks like a Cold War update and shit.
Call of Duty had that. Obviously, when you're doing something, you don't want to keep doing it over and over and over again, because then people are just gonna get bored of it. Like, I get it. Like, I get Call of Duty's like, okay, we've been doing the whole cycle thing, the whole, modern era, whatever thing for a couple games now. Let's change it up. Let's do advanced warfare type stuff, right? They took a risk and it failed. It's a risk reward type of thing. Companies are always going to try to change up their marketing strategy or their games, because after a certain amount, you're going to get bored of it. You're going to get bored of the same crap. Companies are going to keep changing their shit to try to get that fresh breath of fresh air. Damn, that's a hard thing to say.
You mean breath of fresh air?
Dude, I'm half asleep. I don't know how to say it. How?
It's a breath. It's a
breath of fresh air. There you go. And honestly, I think people are just gonna hate on something regardless. But with Call of Duty, Activision just really fumbled the bag, man. Like, they really just fumbled it because they focused again more on the profit than they did the consumer. And to be honest, like, that's not something they should do in a business. You should focus on the consumer, because obviously if the consumer is there, the profits are going to keep rising regardless. And I think they're focusing a lot on the profit, but not as much as the consumer.
And with like the originality of it, I mean, what was the last God of War game before the 2018 or 19 version?
It was God of War 3.
Which came out like what?
God of War 3, I think, came out in like 2013.
So like, I mean, it was a pretty big gap and shit, but
something like that.
Yeah, I mean, with the originality, I think it just also depends on which media you look at. I mean, if you look at music and shit, I would say it's really hard to be original with music, because you already have like literally a whole fucking library of artists that you can like get an idea from.
Mm-hmm.
But even then, people are still gonna be like, oh, well, this kind of gives me like this vibe when I could just, I mean, like, yeah, people are gonna say whatever they want about it, but I think when it comes to originality in like in the art industry at least too, I mean, there's already so many people that have made their mark and have made their place known in that said industry, that you're just kind of like, I mean, like, do you want to be known as kind of like a I don't know, like, let's say like bands nowadays, like for not Saint Charles, like, would you really want to be known as like another screaming t-shirt band, or you want to be like respected in a way where they're like they made something different that we haven't heard in a while since say fucking Metallica, or
dude,
like
look,
old school bands or some shit.
Art, and by art I mean the whole thing of art, like music,
creating something from
the whole art thing is so big. It's hard to be original, because for example, let's say me and you start a band, right? And we call it Pestilential Insanity or something. Just saying. Easter egg. I don't know. Let's say that. Right? Or like, for example, let's just say I start a band, right?
Yeah.
And we try to do something original. Like, okay, well, maybe we'll dress up as fucking the 4 Horsemen of the Apocalypse.
Mm-hmm.
And, the lead singer is going to be, Death or something. And instead of maybe 4, we have 5 band members, and we'll, do the 4 Horsemen of the Apocalypse. And then the main singer is going to be, I don't know, a fucking dinosaur or some shit like that, right? Something original, something that nobody's ever thought of.
Yeah.
No matter what we do, like, we'll play it. We'll do a song, right? We'll make a song. Like for example, let's say we call it. We did that, right? And we made a song called Road, right? And they're gonna be like, oh, this is Road by the Four Horsemen and that dinosaur band, whatever. And they're gonna be like, well, you know, they try to be original, but they sound very Metallica.
Mhm.
Or some other person's gonna say, well, they sound very Black Sabbathy.
Yeah.
It's like it's never gonna be like, oh damn, like this shit is original. Like I would have never thought about that.
Mhm.
No, like you'll do a riff or you'll say a lyric or you'll do something that's gonna remind you of another band. So it's very hard to be original nowadays, because of like the art itself is just expanded in so many ways. Same thing
And-
like with the drawing.
Yeah.
Like let's say you make a drawing, right? You draw a picture or whatever. They're gonna be like, it's very Picasso. Hearing out of breath, burping, bro. No, es que la neta estoy bien gordo.